But as time went on, I just sensed the fuckery. I sensed the propaganda. It was just, there were so many people that were trying to coerce you. Celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, fuck your freedom, take it, fuck your freedom. Everybody was telling you to take it. And I was like, man, this seems like a cult. This seems like something's going, but I didn't want to dismiss medicine. I didn't want to dismiss the whole thing. What disturbs the shit out of me is that after I got better, CNN, MSNBC, all these mainstream news things are mocking me for taking horse medication. They're saying he took horse medication. He took horse dewormer. Like literally taking a drug that's on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. Literally taking a drug that's been prescribed billions of times. Taking a drug that was invented by the guy who won the Nobel Prize for inventing that drug. It has one of the best safety profiles of any known drug, but it's generic and it's cheap. It was real cheap. And I didn't just take that. I listed a bunch of other things I took. Z-Pak, monoclonal antibodies. I had IV vitamin infusions multiple days in a row. I got better quick. Nobody cared that I got better quick. All they cared was I didn't get vaccinated. What's the best way to shame him? Let's point to this one thing that he took and mock this person for taking this foolish medication. They even changed the color of my face on CNN. I put a video up of me saying that I had to cancel shows. Dave Chappelle and I had a big concert coming up that weekend, and I said we have to postpone it because I have COVID. But in the video, I was like, I feel fine. I had COVID 3 days ago. I had one bad day. The second day I felt pretty good. Today I feel great. And all they wanted to talk about, like constantly, every hour, was me taking horse dewormer. It was in Rolling Stone. It was in all these things. Rolling Stone had an article. Gunshot victims are waiting in line to get to the hospital because so many people are overdosing from horse dewormer. 100% horseshit. Printed in the Rolling Stone. Not only that, but they used an image. This is Oklahoma. They used an image. This is supposedly in the summer that this was happening. They used an image of a bunch of people waiting in line wearing winter coats. Because that wasn't from that. That was from I believe they were waiting in line to get vaccinated for the flu. It was another stock photograph that they used of people waiting in line at the hospital. It had nothing to do with horse dewormer. This was tweeted by Rachel Maddow. This was tweeted by many online prominent influencers and journalists. Like, look at these fools taking this horse dewormer. And it wasn't until I read Robert Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, that I got a sense that this is a playbook that they have used forever. They offer one solution. This one solution is patented. This one solution is controlled by these pharmaceutical companies, and it's very expensive, and they make a fuckload of money from it. Whereas anything that's off-label, anything that's generic, is dismissed. They rig the test to make it look like like they'll give you far more, in like what they did with hydroxychloroquine. I mean, I don't even want to go into this. You could read it in the book, but my whole journey on this is like, first of all, how did I find myself in this, right? I'm a comedian and a cage fighting commentator. How am I having these, how am I on CNN all the time? And all they're doing is mocking a medication that I took very deceptively. No, out and out lying, not just deceptively, just out and out lying, saying that I took veterinary medicine. It was so strange. It was so strange to be in the center of that. And also to be someone who got over it very quickly, where there was no discussion. There was no like, hey, Joe Rogan got over this really quickly. What is he doing differently than most people that had COVID and had terrible outcomes? There was none of that. There was no real concern. Like, hey, is he doing something that we could all do? Maybe some people like Aaron Rodgers, who is allergic to one of the key components of the mRNA vaccine. He literally is allergic to it. If he takes it, it could be bad for him. So isn't there something those people can do? There wasn't even that. It was just mockery and shame. And it was also a very distorted understanding of the actual landscape. They thought they were CNN, and CNN was huge. CNN is the news. CNN is a gigantic corporation. They have a big building, the whole deal, giant sign. They didn't understand that this podcast is 10 times larger than them. And it was exposed during that whole thing where they just made this terrible chess move. They just ran out in the middle with their king. And that's how I found myself in the middle of all this. That's how I found myself having conversations with Peter McCullough and Robert Malone and now you and a lot of other people, John Abramson, a lot of other Brett Weinstein, a lot of very intelligent people that weren't crazy. They weren't tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists or QAnon believers. They were just intelligent people that had looked at all the data and had said, I think we're being lied to.
How do you feel about it now, looking back?
I'm so glad I didn't take it.
But in terms of the backlash that you got, Joe.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Exposed them.
Absolutely.
Exposed CNN. Everyone who did it is gone now.
You know,
Brian Stelter's gone.
Well, also
Jim Acosta's
Rachel
gone.
Maddow, I mean, she was dogmatically,
Yes.
in an evangelical way,
Yes.
saying that you're not going to get infected if you get the
Yes.
vaccine. I mean, has she accepted that she was wrong?
She has buried her head in the sand.
Well, there you go.
She has never said a word about it.
You talk about the corporate playbook. You know, you're absolutely right. This is under, there's a framework of how big corporations exert their power. And part of that, obviously, is the political environment. And that's another issue, right? Why do politicians take so much money from big corporations? Why are they allowed to do that? All political parties, certainly both Democrats and the Republicans, take money from from big pharma. That's unacceptable. Capturing the preference shaping, capture of the media. Philanthropic organizations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, capturing the knowledge environment, so funding medical education, sponsoring doctors' conferences. You've got the limited liability of the legal environment. Then you've got something called opposition fragmentation. So that means essentially attacking and smearing those who are calling out their bullshit, who are questioning the narrative. And you were caught in that, Joe. But I'm sure you know this. Take it as a backhanded compliment, because the fact that the mainstream media went for you in that way, probably orchestrated by pharma, I have no doubt, behind the scenes in some way, directly or indirectly, meant that they were worried about what you were saying and the people that were hearing it. And I also, because I've been in this space as an activist for a long time with the whole statin stuff, in some ways, people say to me, Aseem, how are you doing? How are you dealing with all of this stuff coming out with the vaccine? I had colleagues saying to me, you might lose your medical license. And I said, well, the truth is more important. But also, compared to what I went through with statins, Joe, I don't want to undermine it. This is a walk in the park. As soon as I got attacked in The Guardian and The Times, I saw that as a sign of progress, because Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win.